Yes, I'm Christina, faculty of KIMS School of Nursing and our MBA course. So today I'm going to start with the topic called, we have a subject, right? Health insurance. So in this health insurance, coming to the introduction, we have three blocks, block 1, block 2, and block 3. In each block, we are having this 3 units. In block 1, we are having 3 units, block 2, 3 units, and block 3, we are going to have 3 units, totally 9 units we have. And today we are just going to start with an introduction. So in this block 1, coming to the introduction to risk and health insurance. Okay, this is introduction to risk and health insurance. So in this today, we are going to see about risk and risk management. So what do you think about risk? I just want to get few answers from you. So what do you think about what is risk, which we are going to face in our daily life, or in some circumstances we are going to face such type of consequences, right? Risk. So what do you think about risk? Any answers? Simple answers. Yes? Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So please, can you tell me what is risk in simple words? I don't want an exact answer or a correct answer, just to have an interaction. Can you please tell me what is risk? It is a part of a daily life, right? It is a part of a daily life where we are going to face knowingly or unknowingly. Yes or no? Please at least tell yes or no. Only of telling answers, I'm going to tell the answer, but at least tell yes or no. Do we face risk in our daily life? Yes, we are going to face risk in a part of our daily life, which it may be knowingly or unknowingly. And we have very good examples in our textbook also. One example says where we invest money. Yes, we invest money in stocks, right? Stock market. Anyone have a habit of investing money in stocks? In stock market, anyone?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. So here, when we invest money in stock, there is a risk, right? Can we confirmly say that we are going to have 10% profit from that stock market? No, we cannot, right? We cannot tell whether we can get correct or 10% of percentage of profit from it. So here, risk is nothing but here when we invest money in the stock, the risk is known. We know that we have a risk. We may fall into profit or we may end with loss. We know that we have a risk, but we don't know how much amount of loss is there. We know that we are at risk investing the amount, but here when we finally come, we don't know how much amount we are at risk. How much amount? Excuse me, please. Can you mute? So we don't know how much amount of risk is unknown. We know that we are into risk with the stock market, but we cannot exactly tell how much amount is like risk for us when we are investing into it. And sometimes it happens in a public, okay, when it happens with any sort of circumstances we are facing. Okay, so here we have few slides. So this here, can you see a few pictures here?
Yes.
Yes, we can see a few pictures where we fall into risk. We cannot tell. It is unpredictable, right? Risk is unpredictable. We cannot predict whether it will turn out either into positive or either into negative. It may be positive sometimes. Now you can see these pictures here. In this picture, we can see few images here. A person just stepping onto a banana skin, a person stepping from one place to the another place, a car moving from a water, a child here near the window. So here in this, can you exactly tell that the person is going into some negativity or a person is going into completely 10% into loss? No, we cannot tell, right? It is unpredictable. The patient, the person over there in the images may be saved or may not be saved. Yes. So here in the meaning and definition of risk, the international organization, this ISO, International Organization for Standardization, here this international committee represents over 30 countries. So here they have given one simple sort of definition, that is definition of risk. Risk is nothing but effect of uncertainty on objectives. Yes, coming to uncertainty. What is uncertainty? Uncertainty, in simple words, we can say that something that is not certain or something that is not predictable. Can we predict our future outcome? Simple answer, simple question. Please tell yes or no. Can we predict our future outcome? Can you predict your future?
No, ma'am.
No, we cannot predict, right? So that is uncertainty. Example of uncertainty. So the same risk here in the previous thing also we have seen in the definition. Risk is nothing but it is unpredictable. So it is like same effect of uncertainty. So here when it is coming to this, we may have both positive impact and a negative impact. Okay, and we can take one example. For example, a person driving a car, sometimes you all do, right? Especially boys do that. When we are driving, we will overtake the people, right? We will overtake the vehicles. It gives thrill to the person who is overtaking it. Yes or no? It gives thrill when we are overtaking. There are some people just to enjoy the thrill, to enjoy their ego, they just travel and they overtake vehicles. Okay. But there is a risk. It may be a risk for the person who is overtaking, and it is a risk for the vehicle which is being overtaken. Okay. Because if the person meets with an accident, there are dangerous consequences where the person have to be taken. Okay. And next, the person working in a circus. Did you ever visit a circus? Did anyone in your childhood taking your children to circus? Yes. Did you ever be into circus? Arey yaar, say yes or no. Simple questions. Circus. Oh my God. Did you ever visit any circus?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, you have. Thank you for your answers. So you have visited circus, right? So the people who perform in the circus, are they at risk? People walking on ropes and entertaining, right? You have a picture, you'll be seeing in the movie. Yes. So the people who are working in such areas, in such places, they are under risk. Okay, that is one example of our risk thing. Okay. And if you come to the business, it may be anything, okay, a hospital or institutions or whatever it is. A company who just introduces a product. When they introduce a product, are they at risk? Yes, they are at risk. They don't know whether the product will be success or it may be fail, or it may be bought a loss, or it may be going to it may give a good impact. We just don't know about it. So these are certain examples where the risk is being standardized and we will be knowing about it. So because of the health diseases, coming to this health insurance, now we have the subject. So if you see the past recent years, health insurances have been gaining a prominence in India. Yes, are you having insurances, your health insurances?
Yes.
Yes, we have health insurance, right? We invest money in health insurance. Why do we invest in it? For our safety, right? For our safety, because we know there are certain risks which are unpredictable, which will bring a great loss for us in future, may or may not, but we don't know. It is unpredictable. So for our safety, what we do is we just invest certain amount for this health insurance. Okay. In India, now it has been gaining prominence in India. So why? Because of this lifestyle diseases. Nowadays, if you see, there are so many diseases, right? We cannot say, now if you take an example of cancer, now if you see this carcinoma or cancer, it is like a very, very critical disease or a life-threatening disease that has been affected to the children, newborn children, okay, toddlers, children, and adults, teenagers. Okay, it is affected. Previously, if you see this cancer, it was a disease where it was happening or where it was like only for few sort of people. Okay, but now if you see in the hospitals, if you listen to any sort of people, now this has become a common disease like fever, I can say. Yes. So now such type of insurance, now people just investing such type of insurance and all, this helps for their disease just so that they can save their life, they can spend, they can visit such type of hospitals, private hospitals or corporate hospitals, and they can save their lives and they can get some sort of treatment insurance. Now this health insurances became a necessity for the people in the society. Now if you take, so there are some examples here. After listening to all these examples, okay, it creates an awareness that it is a risk for each and every individual. It may be predictive or it may be not predicted. So here, if you see, so some risk management, here the risk management in further classes, in the upcoming classes, we are going to learn about how we can manage the risk. How can we manage this risk? What are the types of risk and how can we manage such type of risk, and what is the benefit of this health insurances and all? And this risk manager plays an important role in the individual's life as well as the organization. Okay. And coming to be, for example, now if you take, now here we have, yes, uncertainty. We have come across this word uncertainty. Can you see a picture carrying an umbrella and what are surrounded? You can see some question marks in that picture, right? So what is that exactly? Where you cannot be relied on, where you don't have a definite reason, where you don't have proper certainty. Okay, you don't have a proper certain thing here where you can exactly tell for a person. Where which cannot be predicted. Just a minute. So next we have a word called peril. Can you see here peril? Yes, can you see here a few images peril? Because the word may be like, yeah, this word may be like very like it is like new for us. Like it is a simple word. Peril is nothing but it is like serious or immediate danger. It is a serious or a immediate danger. If you see like fire, flood, hail, car collisions, wind, earthquake, lightning, water, volcanic eruptions, and falling objects. Okay, these are some of the causes or some of the yeah, I can exactly say cause of loss. One word you can just note if you have books, that is peril is nothing but cause of loss. Because next we are going to have the another topic, that is hazard. When we come across the word hazard, we have a different meaning over there. So this peril is nothing but cause of loss. We have losses. Yes, for that loss, what is the cause? Fire may be a cause, flood may be a cause, wind may be a cause, hail may be a cause, and falling objects, volcanic eruptions, which you can see in the image. These are all what? Natural disaster, right? Can we create this volcano disaster or earthquake? Can we create? It all happens very natural. Yes, it is very serious and is a immediate danger. So this is about peril. And coming to the hazard. Okay, coming to the hazard. What is this hazard? Is nothing but it is a condition that increases the chance of loss in general. Okay, it is nothing but increasing the chance, increasing the frequency, or you can say increasing in the severity of the loss. These are the hazards, increasing in the severity or increasing the frequency of the loss. So here in this, we have physical hazard, moral hazard, and morally hazard. Okay, what is that? Physical hazard, moral hazard, and morally hazard. So coming to this. So here in one thing, here we can say hazard, which this causes loss of life. Yes. Can you ever see You'll be seeing the news channels, reading the newspapers, when you're scrolling around your Instagrams or YouTube reels or whatever it is. You'll be seeing, right? There are so many lives. There are so many lives that have been like the people lose their family members or relatives, yes, because of such type of peril causes. It may be because of fire, accidents, there may be loss of life, and also not only life, okay, it also have an health impacts, and also the property damage. Yes, property damage, right? We have a movie also in it. I just don't remember the exact movie name, but Venkatesh is a hero of this movie. Can anyone say? He just keeps a case on God. Anyone? I'm just asking movie name. I'm not asking answers from the topic. Anyone? That movie name? It is related all with this insurance only.
He puts a case on God, no, ma'am.
Yeah,
This
he puts
Govinda.
yeah, right. Thank you. So it is just something like that. You have an idea. So what he does related to the instance, whatever happened was an like natural calamity, or it is a natural disaster. Okay, it is a physical hazard that happened to his shop. But what he does is just claims insurance on it. Okay, so here property damage is one of the example of that hazard. So here coming to this physical hazard, we will see what is this physical hazard. So this physical hazard, a physical condition that increases the chance of loss, is called a physical hazard. A condition, a physical hazard. It may be a defective electric wiring. I'll tell you, electrical wiring in an apartment, which increases the chance of fire. This is one cause, right? Electrical wiring is a cause that is creating a chance of fire. If people in an apartment, in an home, are just overlooking that defective electrical wire, what happens? There are chances, increased chances for the chance of the fire. So if you take, we have just seen what is this. This electrical wiring is the increasing frequency, or it is increasing the chance of this fire. And next, if you see this pothole, you'll be seeing in this news channels, right? Small children, toddler children, infant children, they'll be playing around this outside areas and outside the houses, in the streets and all. If there is a pothole, and if it is very small, where, if it is big or small, where the child gets fixed into that pothole, what happens? 2-3 days they'll be going on digging the pothole area to just save the life of the child. But finally, in some cases, they'll save the life of the child, and some cases we will see the loss. It is a risk, right? Yes or no? It is a risk. Now, whatever we are talking about, this is a risk. And coming here, if you see pothole, we have seen, okay, pothole, you all have an idea because you'll be listening to this news channels and all. And if you see this poorly maintained roads, that increases the chance of motor accidents. Yes, the roads in our streets, on the roads, whatever, the roads should be very safe enough to travel. If the roads are not proper, there are increased chances of this accidents, etc. And next, if you see this defective locking system, what is this? Defective locking system, it increases the chance of the theft in an houses or an apartment. Sometimes we just lock our houses, right? We think that we have locked, your lock is working properly and you have just locked it, okay? Carelessly, you did not lock it, because in the next topic, we are going to see about carelessness. Here, what I'm talking is defective locking system. You are unaware of that locking system of your door. You just think that your locking system is working. You are unaware of the defect, and you just think that you have locked the door and you just came outside. But when there is some defect with the lock, there are increased chances of the theft. The thief, whatever, they can come inside and they can rob the things, they can go. So these are physical hazards. The natural hazards mean that happens, that increases the chance of loss, or the physical hazards. And next, coming here to the moral hazard. What is this moral hazard? Simple thing here, what we can say in this moral hazard is fraud. Yes, you know what is fraud, right? There are so many people around you. Do you get calls, some fake calls, fraud calls regarding some insurance, regarding some loans? This we are going
a lot
to
these days.
Yeah, a lot these days, right? So this is like a moral hazard. This is one good example for a moral hazard. So there are so many people. If you see, fraud is the classic example of moral hazard. Moral hazard, it is a dishonest character. You know what is the difference between honest and dishonest? Yes, hopefully we all are honest people, right? We all are having a honest character. But here there are some people who just have a very dishonest character of an individual that increases the frequency of loss or severity of loss or both. Here we have certain examples. Okay. So what are the examples here is making a fraudulent insurance claim. Okay. People just create a fraud insurance and creating a just a fraud claim against it and submitting an insurance. Okay. People just submit a false insurance claim to just get an over money, right? Yes. Expected, more than expected. Inflated amount is nothing but expecting more amount than how much we have to get it. And next is deliberately causing fire to go down, which is insured and carries inventory. You'll be seeing in so many movies, if that company, if that organization, if that proper place, wherever it is insured, wherever it is having a good insurance, people, what they do, they just buy self, they just burn it, or they just cause a fire to that property or to that insured property, and they just claim the money from that cause. They just claim the money from that cause, whatever they have created. So first one is what? Physical hazard. Physical hazard is nothing but, if you see what we have seen in the physical hazard, it is just a defective. Okay, because of some defective thing where we are increasing or falling into a chance of a loss. And here, if you see, this moral is nothing but a just thing is fraud. Because of dishonesty, and because of this fraud, this has been created. Moral hazard. And coming to the morality hazard, this is because of carelessness. Because of this carelessness. Now, if you remember in the physical hazard, I gave you an example of what locking, defective locking system, where you are not careless, but you are just unaware of it. Okay. Carelessness is different and being unaware is different. Sometimes we don't know what is the problem. Okay. I don't know. For example, I'm just locking a door. I just don't know that lock is having a defect. But what I think, very carefully, I just lock my door and I'm sure and I'm coming out of it. But I'm not aware. That is a physical hazard. Sometime here, if you see, very carelessly, you will leave the main door open and some burglar enters, a thief enters into your room very easily. And just you leave your car keys inside, okay, or you leave your car keys unlocked and the door where the people can just open your door and they can easily, nicely, just they can take your car away also. And carelessness in regard to maintenance of health because of existence of the health insurance policy. Now, if you see, so many people, I cannot say like in urban areas or in the rural areas also, if you see, carelessness regarding the health is like one of the cause. Carelessness related to this maintenance of the health is one of the cause. Sometimes some people, okay, I don't know whether they talk literally or unliterally. Sometimes what happens is people just think that carelessness, okay, what happens if some disease comes to me? Okay, nothing will happen because I have health insurance. I have a very good health insurance where they will just invest money whenever I go to so-and-so hospital. They are giving me a good chance for so-and-so hospital. So I don't care about money. So this fellow just have few very very bad lifestyle, I can say, like alcohol, smoking. He is aware that smoking, alcohol, these are a very bad lifestyles where it creates health diseases, etc. But because of carelessness, he is just because of, in spite of knowing what happens if you smoke, if you drink alcohol and etc. In spite of all that also, this person, what he's going to do is, he is just without negligence, okay, carelessness, he will be into it because he is having a very good existing health insurance policy. It does not mean, okay, it does not mean that if we have a good health insurance company or health insurance policy for us, it doesn't mean that we go into land up into a bad health conditions. Yes. And next, coming to the type of risk. Okay, we have here types of risk. That is pure risk and speculative risk. Second one is dynamic and statistic risk. Third is fundamental and particular risk. Fourth is subjective and objective risk. And last one is health risk. Last one is health risk. These are types of risk which we are going to see in the next class tomorrow in detail. So I think we will end this class. This meeting is going to end in 3 minutes or 2 minutes. So just once I want to just revise the topic. So this topic, can you please tell me what is the subject about? You can see on your screens and tell.
Health insurance, ma'am.
Health insurance.
Yes, it is a health insurance. Just today we have seen about introduction to health, and in next topic, like from tomorrow, we are going to see about health insurance in detail. Okay, so we have seen what is risk. In simple language, we have just remember one thing. What is risk? Risk is nothing but it is unpredictable. Okay, which turns the effect of that risk may turn into profit and or it may turn into loss. It may have negative impact or it may have a positive impact. If you see the people working in a circus, we took an example of circus people, right? They know that they are in risk because walking on a rope, yes, just playing with the fire and all, they know they are under risk. But what they are doing here now, as it is giving a positive atmosphere, they are getting some money from that, right? They're getting some profit. So they are just enjoying the risk also. Here I can say they are also enjoying the risk and they are earning from that risk. Okay, so risk is nothing but it is unpredictable. Either it may be positive or either it may be a negative. And next, coming to the uncertainty. Okay, there is a meaning for uncertainty where here again same, it says we cannot predict our future. Uncertainty is in simple language where you have the answer in the question only. It is not uncertain. Uncertainty is what? Something that is not certain, something that is not definite, something that is not knowing. It is nothing but we cannot predict our future. We cannot predict our outcome. That is uncertainty. And coming to the term called peril. Peril is what? Serious or immediate danger. Serious or immediate danger. Here, this perils here, we have seen so many points here like fire, flood, hail, wind, earthquake, lightning, water. So these are some of what are called as causes of loss. These are causes of loss. Yes, fire, flooding, loss. It creates loss of damage to the property or to a person also. And coming to the hazards here, a condition that increases the chance of, So here in this type of risk, here when we are coming here, first one is pure risk and speculative risk. So what is this pure risk? What do you mean by pure risk? Pure risk is nothing but the risk that cannot be controlled. Here we cannot control the risk. Here we have two outcomes. It may be complete loss or the patient will not have loss at all. That is complete. That is pure risk. What is the pure risk? Here the risk cannot be controlled. We cannot control the risk that the person is going to have. So here in this pure risk, the patient is going to have two outcomes. What are the two outcomes? The patient either maybe have a complete loss or the person may not have loss at all. Okay, the person may not have loss at all. That is, nothing will happen or something can happen to a person. In simple way, what we can see is in the pure risk, nothing can happen to a person, but the other outcome is something can happen to a person. Here, the person will have no gain or profit. The person will have no gain or no profit. For example, in this, if a situation is ending here, what happens is if a situation is ending only in loss, then it is a pure risk. For example, when you invest some amount in share market, what do you expect? With what expectations we invest money in some particular organization or in some markets? We want some profit, right? In order to get some profit, we just invest. So if we get some benefit, if we get some advantage from that investment, then we will feel very happy. But here in this condition, what is the what is happening to a person is either the person is not having any profit or either the person is not having any loss. That is pure risk that cannot be controlled, and it has two outcomes, that is complete loss or no loss at all. No loss at all. For example, if you give your friend 10,000 rupees. For example, you are giving a friend a 10,000 rupees to buy a dog. Your friend want to buy a dog and just you are giving some 10,000 rupees. So what you will do with that? There are two possibilities. Here the person will have two possibilities. Either you are repaid with that 10,000 rupees. Either your friend have to give you 10,000 rupees because you have given 10,000 rupees for your friend to buy a dog. So you will expect the same thing. Your friend have to return back the 10,000 rupees to you. But here what your friend will do, he will not pay back you. Yes, there are some times, right? You give money to your friends, to your family members. Yes, they say that they are going to give that amount to you back. But sometimes what happens? Will they return? Sometimes.
No.
Will they return? No, sometimes they won't return, right? They won't return. So you are landing up into a pure risk. You are landing up into a pure risk. Either you will get profit or nothing will come in return to you. That is a pure risk. Understood? Next is, did you understood what is pure risk? Here you have two outcomes. Just remember, in the two outcomes, you will have a complete loss or you will not have loss at all. If your friend is giving back the 10,000 rupees, then it is well and good. You are not into a loss. That is one outcome. But if your friend is not giving you the 10,000 rupees which you have paid for him, then you are under loss. So two outcomes. It may be nothing happens or something can happen. So that is about a pure risk. And next one is speculative risk. What is the speculative risk? Online gaming? Anyone interested in online gaming? You spend
No,
some
ma'am.
amount in online games, right? You will be listening. If you don't invest in that online gaming, but you will be saving, so you will be seeing so many news channels, so many advertisements you will be getting just when you just want to play some game, you have to invest some amount in that game. When you want to just upgrade that level of game, you should invest some amount in it, right? That is speculative risk. One example of online gaming and investing in stocks and betting. You know betting? Yes, you all know cricket betting, game bettings, right? Bettings, you know.
Yes,
Sport
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes,
in
ma'am.
sports,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
just do the betting and all, right? That is speculative risk. Okay, we will bet. We will bet for some amount. Yes, but we don't know whether we are going into profit or whether we are going into loss. Profit, if you get profit, then it is well and good. But if you're landing up with the loss, then it is a risk. So this speculative risk, it is a type of risk where the risk taker takes on voluntary. Okay, voluntarily, he will just invest the amount or he will just invest the amount in certain things like online gaming or like betting or like sports or investing in stocks. It is involuntary. It is like voluntary. By himself, he is going to invest the amount. And at end, he will get a result. It may be profit or it may be a loss. Did you understand this? Speculative risk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, investing. Thank you. And next one is dynamic risk. Next one is dynamic risk. So what is this dynamic risk? It is a risk brought up on just one example is suddenly if you see like changes in the pricing, suddenly the gold rate, we can take a good example of gold rate, right? Yes, now if you see
Very
from last
volatile.
few weeks, yeah. So what happened now? This have been increased a lot in few days and few weeks, right? This is a very good example of this dynamic risk. Okay, changes in the prices, changes in the pricing, changes in the income. This all comes under the dynamic risk. It is a risk brought up sudden, unpredictable. We don't know, right, whether the gold rate is going to increase or whether the gold rate is going to increase. You just don't know whether the income is going to increase or whether the economy, it is nothing but about a economy, whether it may be increased or it may be decreased. It is nothing but unpredictable changes. A sudden unpredictable changes in an economy is an example of dynamic risk. Okay, example is changes in the pricing and changes in the income. Yes. And next one here, we will see what is static risk. Static risk. So what is the static risk? Mainly the static risk, it involves losses, which is brought about a nature, act of nature, and it may be because of any criminal act like thief, robbers, etc. Here, one example here we can say is property damage, fire damage, or because of fire there is a damage to the property, uh, theft of personal belongings, accidental injuries. Yes, any accidental injuries during the routine activity. So these are this all are included in the status risk. This risk may happen, or the loss may happen by nature, by act of nature, or by a criminal act by the another person. If the other person wants to rob your things, if the other person want to damage your property, yes, this all comes under the statistic risk. The loss which involves, or the loss brought about by act of nature. The nature may bring a loss to a person or a criminal person. Yes, the loss can happen because of the another person, a criminal act, because of a criminal act. Yes, did you understand till now? What are this pure risk, speculative risk,
Yes, ma'am.
dynamic and statistic risk? Tomorrow we are going to see this the other types of risk in detail. So once I just want to just brush up the topic for today, and we will just end the class.
Okay, ma'am.
This we have seen just now before first session was ending. So here in this hazard, it is a condition where it increases the chance of loss in generally which is known as hazard. It is nothing but danger or a risk. Hazard is nothing but a danger or a risk. It may cause danger to the life of a person, or loss of life, injury, or other health impacts, property damage, environmental damage, etc., like how we have seen in the types of risk. So here, physical damage, we already discussed about this. Because of physical damage, something physically, if something is damaged, like electrical wire is being damaged, there are chances of this fire accident. If a pothole, if that pit is not properly closed with the mud or with cement or whatever it is, so there are chances of the falls injuries of the children or whoever it is. And if the roads are poorly not maintained properly, there are high risk chances of this road or motor accidents, etc. Defective locking system, it is because of your that is because of your unawareness. If you know that the lock is not working properly, then it is your carelessness. You know that your door lock, automatic lock, is not working properly, but you just simply close the door, you just lock it and go away from there, then it is carelessness. Here is what? Unaware. And here comes your moral hazard. Here, one simple word in moral hazard, that is because of fraud and dishonesty. When a word come to your mind, fraud, you know how many frauds are happening nowadays in our society. You can just write that examples related to insurance and all. And next, coming to this morally hazard, simple thing, that is because of your carelessness, because of a person's carelessness, just like leaving the main door open so that any person can enter inside, and just leaving your car keys just like that unlocked. Someone can come, just sit and just take your car and go away. Okay. And just because you are having a good health insurance policy, it doesn't mean that you should be carelessness towards your health. It doesn't happen, right? We have to be very, if you have a proper health insurance also, we should see that we have to maintain a healthy lifestyles and all. And coming to the type of risk, first one is pure risk. Pure risk. Here we have how many outcomes in pure risk? How many outcomes in pure risk? Two outcomes.
To either complete loss or complete
Complete
return.
return. Yeah. Nothing happens or something will happen, or complete loss or no loss at all. One example that we have seen is a friend giving a money or amount to this person to just buy a dog or something else, whatever it is, or 10,000. The friend can return the amount, well and good. If the person is not returning the amount and just keeping by himself, just avoiding, neglecting, then it comes under a pure risk, where the person will have nothing, something like whatever we have seen here, opportunity for a loss or no opportunity for a gain. And coming to this dynamic speculative risk. Speculative risk, you have to just keep in your mind, that is online gaming, investing in the stockers or bettings. Okay, this all comes under the speculative risk. Here, what is happening is the risk taker, the individual is a risk taker, where voluntarily he is paying for this. Voluntarily he is involving, or voluntarily he is spending amount in this betting or online gaming and all. So there is some degree, he may get profit or he may be under loss. Two chances here also. Okay. And next is dynamic risk. What is this dynamic risk? Changes in the prices, changes in the prices, changes in the income, unpredictable changes in an economy. What is that? Unpredictable changes in an economy. It is a risk brought by a sudden, unpredictable. Sometimes it happens, right? Suddenly the oil rate will increase. Suddenly, what? The gold rate increases, which we have already seen. Anything, something like that, increasing. Okay, changes in the prices and all comes under the dynamic risk. Only thing is here you have to remember is unpredictable changes in an economy. Sudden and unpredictable changes in an economy is a dynamic risk. And coming here to this static risk. A static risk is nothing but what? Loss brought by act of nature or by a criminal act. It may be an act of nature or act of criminals. Okay, a thief coming inside and robbing, what is it? A fraud person or an dishonest person just want to damage the property of the opposite person or competitor or whatever it is. Okay, so that examples come under the statistic risk. Examples, whatever we have seen, like fire damage to the property, theft of personal belongings, accidental injuries during the routine activities and all. Now, this injuries during routine activities come under act of nature or criminal act? Accidental injuries or injuries, if you take, comes under act of nature or criminal acts, which it just comes under which thing?
Act of nature, ma'am.
Act of nature. Thank you. Correct. So it comes under act of nature. So when you're just going through your textbooks, so simple thing, you can just describe what is the statistic risk, and you can just write 2-3 examples like how we have seen, and just you can elaborate your answers for your examination. So thank you. As we have seen about pure risk and speculative risk and dynamic and static risk. So today we are going to see about fundamental and particular risk. So what is this fundamental risk? So this is nothing but this is a risk that affects entire societies or a large population with a societies, where this risk is uncontrollable. Fundamental risk is uncontrollable, and this is the risk which is faced by the group of people, not an individual person, but fundamental risk is the risk that is faced by group of people, and we cannot control this risk. And there are few examples which we have already seen yesterday, like floods, like examples like almost all which we have in the pure risk, like floods, fire, earthquakes, etc. And if you see war, yes, when we have this wars and all also, what happens? The whole entire society will be affected. A large population will be affected when this floods, fires, earthquakes, and this wars are affected in the society. Yes. And here in this fundamental risk, here we have two types of risk. In fundamental risk, we have two types of risk, that is systemic risk and unsystematic risk. Systematic risk and unsystematic risk. So here in systematic risk, what has happens is it impacts everything. For example, when there is a risk, the entire market is affected. It impacts the entire market. That is systematic risk. Unsystematic risk means what? When there is a risk, when there is a trouble, only a specific company is affected. Only a specific company, the entire company is affected. Okay. So this is the difference between systematic risk and the unsystematic risk, which comes under the fundamental right. Fundamental right is nothing but the risk that affects the entire society, or it affects the large population within the society. Okay. And here in this, once again, I'm repeating, two types are there. Two types of risk and fundamental. That is systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Systematic risk is what? It impacts everything. That is, the whole market is affected in this systematic. When coming to unsystematic risk, what happens is it specifies or it affects only a one sort of company. Okay. For example, here we have a very good example like Gujarat earthquake, etc. And coming to the particular risk. So what is this particular risk? Quite opposite to fundamental risk. Here, when I'm talking about this fundamental risk, I was talking about like it affects the entire society or it affects the large population within the society. Whereas coming to the particular risk, this risk, it affects only a single person. Quite opposite with this fundamental risk. Okay, it either affects a single person or few individuals or a few individuals. For example, if you see loss of job, yes, it is an individual risk. Loss of job is a individual risk or a particular risk where the person is being affected with the loss of job. And coming burning down, for example, if you see a house is burned down or burning down of a person house, or theft, if any robbery happens in a house also, it is affected only to a single family. It is not affected to the whole society, or it is not affected to the whole area wherever they are staying. Okay, here we talk about here is particular risk where it affects only a single person or it affects the only few individual. And this type of risk arises with the individual decision. It depends upon the individual decision. Whereas, for example, when you talk, it depends upon your decision. Okay, for example, either you want to do your further studies, or you want to drive a car, or you want to start a business. Okay, it depends upon a particular risk. Now, it depends upon a complete individual risk. For example, now, if I take my example, if I want to do my further studies, it is my particular risk. It is my individual risk. If I want to like start a business, it is my risk. On my own risk, on my individual risk, I'm going to take a decision. So this completely arises from an individual decision. Did you understand what is fundamental and particular risk? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fundamental risk and particular risk. And coming to this subjective risk. So here, if you see, before we go to this fundamental risk and particular risk, here we have two types like insurable risk and unsurable risk. Can anyone tell in basic words what is insurable risk? The name itself is having the answer. Insurable risk and what is unsurable risk? Anyone? Now here you tell, just tell me. Yes? What is insurable risk?
The risk to which insurance can be
Claimed.
granted or given, madam.
Yeah, correct. Yes, thank you. So here, insurable risk is what? Here, it meets the criteria when we are just claiming for the coverage for an insurance company, where it gives you, whereas we are meeting with the criteria of an insurance company for the coverage that we can get benefit from the insurance company. That is nothing but insurable risk. Now, you please tell me like, now which risk comes under insurable risk? That is fundamental or particular risk? Yes. Now, which is insurable risk? Particular risk is insurable risk. Particular risk is insurable risk. Particular risk is the insurable risk. And here, when we come to this subjective and objective risk. Okay, next we have this subjective risk and objective risk. So what is the subjective risk? It is nothing but this completely is based on the human mentality, or it is completely based on the state of mind of an individual. Okay, subjective risk. Here you can see, on the other hand, subjective risk, that is basically emanates from a person's state of mind or a mental attitude, where the person will be perceiving the risk of a particular situation. Here your patient will be telling, okay, sometimes if you see the patient they will be experiencing some doubts, they will be experiencing some worry or an outcome for a given event. For example, if you take a person, okay, the person might tell, if the person is having a bad habit of bad lifestyle, like taking alcohol, smoking, etc. So what do that person do? No, person is a subject here, subjective risk. So here what the person states is, the person may tell, okay, I may land up into some lung tuberculosis, or I may land up into carcinoma, I may be affected with certain diseases because he is having an unhealthy lifestyle. So his mental attitude here, nothing but the person experiences doubtfulness, worry as an outcome of a given event. Okay. And here mainly the person thinks that something is going to happen. Now, as I said, okay, when a person is having a habit of bad, like a chain smoker, if you take, or a person is having a habit of taking alcohol and all, when he is having a severe cough, when his respiratory system is being affected, so the patient will obviously think that something is going to happen to that person, something bad is going to happen with that person. So it comes under what? Subjective risk. Okay. Here in subjective risk, it completely based upon the state of mind of an individual. He is going to perceive, or he is going to experience and say that he will be having certain doubts, he will be having certain worriness about the event that he has been experiencing. And coming to the objective risk. So what is this objective risk? Actual loss. Objective risk is nothing but an actual experience that may differ from one expected. If you see here, nothing but actual loss from expected loss. Here the objective risk is measurable. Here we can measure the objective risk because it is an expected risk. Here it is an expected risk. And here coming to the health risk. So what is this health risk? This health risk is nothing but, it is something. Now the name itself is telling, right? It is an adverse event or a negative health consequence due to a specific event, disease, or a condition. So there are certain risks for a person or for a patient because it may be affected with certain disease condition, or because of a particular specific event, or whatever it is. And here coming to this, here mainly the thing is, for example, can you list out few? Here already there are few events. Okay, what is that? Obesity. If we take obesity, obesity leads to other health conditions, right? Obesity can lead to hypertension. Obesity can lead to diabetes mellitus. Obesity can lead to joint diseases. Obesity, there are increased chances which can the patient can experience or have a certain cancers, heart diseases, etc. So this obesity is a risk factor where it leads to the health or the other disease condition. And here, and health risk, here if you see, health risk may be related to genetic condition. Yes, obviously. Chronic diseases, certain occupation or sports. Which occupation? Now, please, can you tell? Very simple answer. What are the occupations that can affect the health of the patient? Health of a person. Any? What occupation? So what is it? Please, can you tell? What are the occupations that affect the health of the patient? or affect the health of the people?
Madam, persons working in mines, gold mines, coal
Yes,
mines,
coal
they are
mines.
having a chance.
They will be affected with certain respiratory disorders.
Please.
Yes. Yes, thank you. So here there are certain things. Okay, here there are certain occupations like if you take Singareni workers, okay, where the people are affected with this coal and all over there, and they are more prone to get chances of the other diseases like respiratory diseases, especially. So this is one of the example of this health risk. Health risk is nothing but it is an adverse event, or else you can take something that increases the chance of developing. Okay, there is something that increases the chance of developing a disease. And how can you reduce this health risk? In general, how can we reduce the health risk? How can we educate people to reduce the health risk? Yes? Anything? Changing lifestyles? Yes, we can educate people to change their lifestyles, right? If a person is having a habit of smoking, alcohol, etc. So here we can educate the patient to change his lifestyle. Okay. And rest and sleep is important for a person to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Is rest and sleep important for a person to maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is very important, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So next is regular physical activities, eat healthy diet. This all factors will help the person to improve the health, and which also helps to reduce the risk factors of the health. And next, coming to a business risk. Okay, we have come to a topic called business risk. Till here, we have seen about types of risk yesterday, which we have seen pure risk, speculative risk, dynamic and static risk. Yes, yesterday we have seen, right, pure risk and all. Hope you remember. In simple words, in simple examples, we have seen. If you take in pure risk, what we have seen in pure risk, nothing happens or something can happen to a person. Okay, there may be opportunity for a loss, but no opportunity for a gain. This is the example of a pure risk, where we have taken an example of a friend paying 10,000 rupees to a friend. Yes or no? And next here again we have seen example of speculative risk. And today we have seen about fundamental and a particular risk. Fundamental risk was, once again, I'll just end this and we will go to the other topic. Fundamental risk is nothing but this risk affects the entire society. It affects a large population in the society. In this, examples are like floods, fire, earthquakes, war, etc. And here in this fundamental types of, here we have two types of fundamental risk, that is systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Systematic risk is what? Which impacts the entire market. It impacts everything, the entire market. Unsystematic risk is what? Only a specific organization or a specific company is affected in unsystematic risk. And coming to the particular risk, what is this particular risk? This risk, it affects a single person. This is quite opposite to your fundamental risk. Particular, the name itself is telling it is affecting a particular group. Okay, it is affecting a particular group, that may be a single person or a few individuals, and this risk is completely dependent on a individual. This risk is completely dependent on a individual decision. Like for example, if you take a step, a decision may be to study further studies, or a decision may be to take or to start a business. Okay. And next, coming to the subjective and objective risk. Subjective is what? Person is a subjective here. Individual is a subjective here. So here what we do is completely this subjective risk is based on a state of an individual mind. It is affected or it is based on the individual state of mind, where here what the patient experiences, his doubts, his worriness has to overcome with the given event. Here mainly what happens is something will happen, something is going to happen, something bad is going to happen. So the patient is going to have, the person is going to have such type of opinions where the person is where the person will be telling, okay, no, something is going to happen to me. Okay, I will be affected with some on the other disease. I may met with an accident. So what are this all? The subject is giving you a idea. A subject is giving you a data about his risk. That is subjective risk, where it is not easily to measure. We cannot easily measure if you compare with the objective risk. Whereas this objective risk, we can measure it. Okay, we can measure it. What is this objective risk? Is it nothing but actual loss from the expected loss? One simple thing, that is actual loss from the expected loss. And coming to this health risk, it is nothing but something that increases the chance of developing a disease. Something that increasing the chance of developing a disease is what is your health risk. And here you can write down few examples. What are the disease conditions that are affected with the risk of health, like obesity? If you take an example of obesity, how this obesity is affecting the other diseases. If you take malnutrition, how malnutrition is affecting the health of the children. Like that, you can take few examples and you can include in your answer. And here coming, so here at the same time, when you're writing this risk, here you can write simple management. Okay, when there is some risk, how we can overcome, as it is a health risk, how with the basic simple techniques or with basic precautions, how you can manage the health, as we discussed, by eating a healthy diet, physical exercises, increasing the physical exercises, changing the lifestyle, and encouraging a person to have proper rest and sleep. Okay, avoid smoking and alcohol. All this comes under the measures where the patient can follow to maintain a proper health. And here coming again to the business risk. Now, this is a topic which we are going to start. Now, what do you think? The name itself is telling business risk. Now, what is affected here in the business risk? Business is affected. So here mainly it refers specifically to anything that could threaten a company's financial health. For example, now financial health is important for an organization, right? Yes. Is
Yes,
financial health important for a business or for an organization or for an institution? It is very,
Yes,
very
ma'am.
important. Yeah, it is very, very important. Financial health is very, very important to run a business or to run an institution or to run a organization. Okay, so there are certain factors here. Okay, so mainly the business risk, there are certain factors that increase the chance of the losses in the business. There are increases that increases the chances in the loss of the business. Profit and loss. Yes, here mainly what is happening in the profit is mainly what is happening in this business risk is the profit of the company is being affected. The profit of the company is being affected. So first here, if you see, what are the factors, like for example, to run any business, to run any organization, two things are important. Why will the organization run, or why is the business run? It involves bigger challenges and a smaller challenges, right? It includes a bigger challenges and a smaller challenges. So one who is running a business, what will be the main goal? One is to improve their growth. One is to improve their company's growth, or to increase their organizational growth. And the other one is to carry certain level of risk. We know when we are starting a business, yesterday we have seen in the risk, right? We know that there is going to be a risk. Uncertainty is going to be there, but either we cannot tell whether it is profitable or negative. It is going to bring a profit for you, or it is going to bring a negative for you. but the person is aware. The one who is running a business is aware of it. Okay. So here, the same thing here is the two things here we can see is one is the organization runs for one thing is for the business growth and one is to carry only till certain level of risk. Yes, obviously a business, organization, institution or an individual also, if you see, we can carry only a certain level of risk. If the risk is increasing, if you cannot carry that risk, if you cannot solve that risk, what is going to happen? What is going to happen if you won't carry the risk? Yes. Anything is going to happen to businessman or to the people who are running an organization? Yes or no? So many people will end up with their life. Yes or no? So many people will end up with their life when they are unable to take their risk. When it is more for them, they cannot take it. Okay, they will end up with their life. So here again in this causes of risk, here we are having certain causes of risk. It is natural causes, human causes and economic causes. What are that? Natural causes, human causes and economic causes. So what are these natural causes? We already discussed from the beginning. We are saying what are these natural causes. Same again like calamities like earthquakes, floods, yes, etc. And next coming to the human. Now human causes are what? If error is caused or if a risk is caused because of a human error. If a person is doing a mistake in a business, if a person is taking a wrong decision, a wrong valuable decision that is being taken by a person, and if it goes wrong, if there is an error, then obviously there is a risk in the business. And coming to the economic causes. So what comes in the economic causes? Mainly when there is increase in the loss of the materials and the competitions. Here mainly it increases because this economic causes, it will increase the loss of the materials. Yes, we use certain materials in a business, organization or whatever it is. So these materials are, it is a loss of the materials and a competition, etc. And here, how can we identify a risk? Can you tell how can we identify a risk? Is it important to identify a risk for a business person or for the person who is running an organization? Is it important for us to organize the risk? As a managers, is it important for us to manage yes, it is very important to identify the risk. How can we identify a risk? Especially the company should need or the company should keep an eye on the source that can turn into threat. Yes, some people, we see people, right, who just invest in the shares, stock market. Daily they are going to see there, right, how much profit they got, or whether they are going into loss or whether they are going into profit. If they are going into profit, what do? They'll continue investing their amount. But once if they listen to a news or once they see the screen, if it is showing them that they are going to get a loss, immediately what do? They withdraw their amount, yes, or they stop their shares. Something on the other, they will take a decision. So here also a company always, they should keep an eye on a source or they should keep an eye on a cause that is going to create a risk for a business. And next one, if you see this risk managers, okay, the managers who are going to monitor the business risk, they should deal with the problems immediately. So immediately when they find any problem that is converting a threat, that is converting a risk, immediately they should deal with the problem. At the same time, they should encourage, okay, they should encourage the deals to the employees. Yes, we get some deals, right? When we are working in an organization, when we work in an institution, they give us deals, they give us targets. I think everyone are working people, right? Most of the people may be working. Did your HOD give you any deal, or did your HOD give any targets when you are working? No. Your HODs did not give you any targets when you're working in an organization. So your HODs are very good then. Here, what is the thing? Here, the employees should be given a deals. Why we give this deals, or why these targets are given to the group, is to prevent the risk. To prevent the risk immediately before it is converted into a financial threat. And managers should keep a record. Always the managers who are dealing with this risk, business risk, they should maintain a records so that they will be monitoring the type of risk in the business, what type of risk and how they are going to deal with the risk, and what are the risks that have been familiarly they are facing about. And here again, coming to the classification of business risk. Here we have seen what is business risk. Business risk is nothing but threat to a company's financial health. It is a risk or threat to a company's financial health. And here again, we have seen the causes of risk, that is natural, human, and economic. And coming here to the classification of business risk. So what is this classification? Can you see three headings here? Operational or internal risk, financial risk, and strategic risk. So what is this what is this operational or internal risk? Operational risk is also called as internal risk. Internal means what? Within the organization or within the operation. So here the main thing, this risk arises from the operations of an organization. Okay, what happens? Where does this risk develop? The risk will develop, or this risk will arise from the operations of an organization. That's why the name itself is telling internal risk, that is going to develop internally within the organization. This type of risk is mainly associated with what? Failure of a system. Yes, if the system of an organization is not working properly, you have human errors. When there are certain human errors, when there are inadequate controls, when a control is not properly, and when there are failed policies, when you prepare certain policies for an organization, when it is not planned, if it is getting failed. So this all comes under operational risk. Operational risk is also called as internal risk. Internal risk is what? Which arises within the operations of an organization, which arise from the operations of an organization. And mainly here, here you have types of risk that is associated with is what? Failure of the system. When the organizational system organogram is not functioning properly, when there are any human errors that are made by the employees or the management, and when there is any inadequate controls and failed policies. Okay, failed policies or inadequate policies will create the operational risk. And next here again, coming to the financial risk. What is financial risk? Now the name itself is telling you financial risk means what?
A risk of the amount invested in the company, in the organization.
Yeah, company, organization, investments. Yes, finance is what? Amount, right? Money. Here, what is happening in financial risk? There is a possibility here in financial risk. What is happening is there is a possibility of losing an amount, okay, on an investment, as you said. Okay, here what is happening when you invest some amount in the business, when you invest some amount in some organization, what happens is there will be losing amount, or else what happens here is there is a possibility of losing the amount, and that is affecting the system. Can't see anyone here too. Just a minute. So here mainly the possibility of losing the amount in the financial risk when you invest in a business. Mainly this type of financial risk is associated with financing and financial transactions when you're sending your amount in and out and borrowing the funds from the financial companies. Yes, few people do it, right? To buy a car, to buy a motor vehicles, to buy an auto rickshaw. Yes, people what do they do? They just lend some money from the financial companies. Okay, this all comes borrowing funds from the financial companies are this all comes under the financial risk. Mainly the thing is possibility of losing the amount when you invest in a business. Okay. Next, last coming to a strategic risk. What is this strategic risk? Simple. Strategic risk is nothing but failure in strategic planning. Okay. A strategic planning is very, very important for a business, or it is important for an organization to run smoothly. Strategic planning is very, very important. But here, what is happening if there is no proper strategic planning in your organization or in a business? There is a failure of strategic planning, and there are certain causes. So, what are the causes of strategic planning? Decisions are unclear. When you take proper decisions for your company, when you take some proper decisions for your business to start a business, first, what should be important? Decisions should be clear. What you are going to do should be clear. When decision is only unclear, can you run your business? Are you having a strategic plan if your decisions are not clear? No, you are not having. Your decisions are unclear. So, where else your strategic planning is also having a failure. And next, if you see in certain organizations, institutions, what happens? Changes in the senior management, right? When leadership is important in an organization, business, etc. Leaders are important or not?
True,
Yes.
ma'am, because they run the organization.
Yeah, they run
They
the
should have a
organization.
statement.
And next, if you see, yes.
They should have a clear vision and mission statement and then go ahead.
Yeah, they have a clear vision. Thank you so much. They have a clear vision and mission towards the organization. And senior management is also important, right, in an organization. Why this management selects seniors? Because, as you said, they will have a clear vision about an organization, mission about an organization, so that they can take a good leadership qualities and they can run the business or an organization smoothly. But if the company is going on changing a senior management, if a company is going on changing a person who is having a good leadership quality, is it a good strategic plan? No, it is not a good strategic plan. If unnecessarily they are going on changing a good person, a senior management and a leadership, that means a company or a business is not having a good strategic planning towards their organization. And next, introduction of a new product. When a person is starting a business, okay. So when a new product is being starting, when they are introducing a new product, strategic planning is very, very important. So before, if you see any news, what is that? You will be seeing so many advertisements, right? Yes, in an advertisement, when a new product is introduced in a society, what do they do?
Marketing. They do the
Marketing.
advertisement for
Very good. They will be doing marketing of a new product, right? And daily, if you see, they'll be going on giving in an advertisement so that people will have a good focus on it and they start buying a new product, or they'll be investing their money in that new product. So introducing. So without proper so here coming to the strategic management, here as we have seen, okay, when they're changing, okay, identifying or introducing a new product is important. Marketing is important, as we have discussed. And shift in needs of customers expectations sometimes happens, right? When this happens with what, for example, if you take when you go to a restaurant, okay, first time you go to a restaurant and the food is very good and you expect to go for the next time again. But sometimes what happens the second time when you visit the same restaurant, you will not get the same taste as you had it before, right? So what happens? There are changes. Okay, thrice you visited, again, the fourth time you have visited the restaurant, it is not giving you the taste that was before when you have consumed the first visit. So this what happens, there are changes in the customers expectations. First visit when you went, the food was very tasty. Second time you visited, the taste is not so good. So immediately what happened, you got a change. You just shifted your mind towards that business, or you have just shifted your mind towards that restaurant. And what happens for the third time, you will not step into that restaurant again. So that is one example of the strategic risks that we have seen shift in the needs of customers expectations. And next here in this strategic risk, we have a few like 5-step process. Okay, how we can process and how we can treat it. So first thing is identifying the risk is very, very important. What are the risks that is affecting the strategy of the company planning? And next, conduct risk assessment. We have to conduct the risk assessment to identify. We have to assess what is the risk that is been affecting the business. And next, you have to choose a strategy dealing, which is important. How we can treat this business risk, or how we can treat this strategy risk in order to prevent such type of risk in the strategy or a business. And always we have to monitor each time the managers who are involved in this strategic risk management, they should always monitor the risk over time to keep the changes. So that now, for example, when you invest some amount in the stocks, like we have discussed, like shares, what the person is going to do, the one who is invested daily, he will be seeing his business, like whether the amount is being increased, or whether the shares are increased, or whether the shares are not increased. When the person feels that there is some loss in the shares, immediately he will sell his shares, or he will go for the another step. So he will just change his strategic plan towards the risk which is being facing at a time. So same here also, the risk managers who are there, the management process, always they have to monitor each time. They always have to monitor each time to change their top up changes. And at the same time, they should report. They should report at each stage of the risk management process. Like, for example, if you see when there are certain managers who are dealing with the strategy planning, okay, when they find there is some risk in certain planning, immediately they have to go and inform to the management people that this strategy is not going to work out. If we are going according to this strategic planning, it may create a risk in the business. So the reporting is very, very important by the process management or a management process in order to prevent such type of strategic risk. Hope you understood this classification of business risk. Business risk here is nothing but, what is business risk? Yes, what is business risk? Threaten to a company's financial health. Nothing but threaten to a company's financial health. Yes, here a person, a business risk, mainly there are certain factors where it increases the chance of losses. Instead of bringing profit to a company, instead of bringing profit to the business, it creates the chances of losses. Okay, and it reduces the opportunity of profit. Always it affects the financial growth of the business. That is the business risk. Here we have 3 types of causes, that is natural cause, human cause, and economic cause, where we have seen already, right? Yes or no? Here natural causes, what? Natural calamities. Human causes are what? Due to the human errors. A person in an organization, a person in a business making a mistakes and taking a improper decision. Decision planning is not well developed for a business management. And next, if you see the economic causes, mainly it is a loss of the materials. Here it is increased loss of materials and competitions and etc. in the economic causes. So here identification of risk is very, very important. We have to identify the risk. If we can identify the risk only, then we can manage the risk management, or we can manage the risk. We can have, it is very, very important for an business people or for an organization persons to identify the risk. First thing, as we have seen, the company need to take an eye or should keep an eye on the source that can turn into threat. Always we have to see whether the company is falling into threat or what. And next, the risk managers, the one who are dealing with this risk and all, they should always deal with the problems immediately when they find that there is some problem with an risk, or there is some problem. Immediately they have to convert their threat. And as I said, your employees should be given deals, targets, so that when some deals are given, some targets are given, what happens is employees focus on the targets, employees focus on the deals, and see that the threats does not happen to the financial health or to the company. And next, here again, you see managers have to maintain records, as we have seen. Yes, records are important, right? For any organization, for the business, records, reports, registers, documentation is very, very important. Okay. And next, coming to the classification, again, we have operational and internal risk, financial risk, and strategic risk. Operational risk is also called as internal risk. Okay, it is internal risk which arises internally from the operations of an organization. Now, this internal risk is not coming from the outside business or from externally. It is completely internally where this risk is being developing, arising within the operations of an organization. Okay, we as already discussed in the causes, it may be because of failure of the system, when an organization business is not functioning properly, when there are errors with the humans, with the employees, and when there are inadequate control. Controlling also is very important in the business. When the controls are inadequate, when the policies are failed policies, then there are chances of this operational or internal risk happens. And next, coming to the financial health, as we already discussed, mainly this is a possibility of the losing money, or on investing the business. Okay, mainly as we said, this investing financial. Okay, mainly the transactions when you are sending your money in and out from your account, that is associated with the financial transaction, borrowing the funds from the financial company to buy some property or to buy some some gadgets or some cars, etc., and all comes under this financial risk. And next, last, coming to the strategic risk. So what is the strategic risk? Nothing but failure in the strategic planning. The question, the answer itself is in the question. Strategic failure is nothing but failure in the strategic planning. Okay, here mainly there will be risk in the events. Decisions are very, very important. When there are some risk in the events that we are planning, when there is a risk in the decisions, that could not stop an organization from achieving their goals. Okay. And here there are some causes, as we have seen, decisions are unclear. When a company's decision is unclear, we cannot have a proper strategic plan. Where senior management is important and leadership qualities are very, very important who are dealing with the strategic planning. Okay. And when introduction of a new product, what is important? Marketing. Yes, we discussed as marketing is important for a introduction to a new product. So when you do a good marketing, your product comes into a society where people can focus on it and spend their money on it, and where the business can increase here. And there are shifts in the needs of customers' expectations. The business should the business should meet the customer's expectation. When they meet with this customer's expectation only, then the business will get success. As we have seen a good example of restaurant, because we all visit restaurants and we eat good food, right? When we will go to the restaurant again and again to one restaurant, when the food is good, when that restaurant is meeting the needs of the customers' expectations. Okay, so here again we have seen 5 steps process, that is identifying, assessing, threatening, monitoring, and reporting. So first identify what we have to identify. We have to identify the strategic risk and we have to conduct a risk assessment. Okay. So where we are getting this risk and all, we have to conduct an assessment or a survey like thing in an organization. And we have to choose a good strategic dealing. Strategic dealing is very, very important. Which dealing is important? Which dealing can prevent loss or which dealing can improve the profit of the business or an organization. And here we have to monitor the managers who are there should always monitor each and every time to keep their challenges up. And always reporting also is very, very important. Once you find that there are some changes in the strategic planning, which is not going to help in the business deal, which is not going to help in the business deal to bring out a good profit, immediately it should be informed to the higher authorities in the business or a management where to improve the business, to prevent this business risk. Okay. So till here we have seen about all this. So tomorrow we are going to see about this concept of risk management. I'm going to end this unit and we are going to start the another unit. So we'll just brush up. So what do you think? What is risk management? Till now we have seen what is risk, what are the types of risk, what are the causes of risk. Yes, we have seen all such type of risk. So what do you think? What is this risk management?
To identify the root causes and then try to improve on that.
Yes, very good. Thank you. So as you said, okay, the main thing we have to identify the root cause, to identify a strategic dealing, and we have to accept. Acceptance also is important, right? If you accept that risk only, if you accept that loss only, you can just mitigate the uncertainty. You can remove that uncertainty. Yes, and you can try to take a good dealing, as we discussed here, reporting, monitoring, treating, all this comes under this risk management. So